All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the declassified files of one of the CIA's most notorious secret programs, Project MKUltra. Now, this isn't conspiracy theory stuff. This entire explainer is built from the actual once-secret government documents that blew the lid off the whole thing. So picture this. It's 1977. You're in a Senate hearing about intelligence agency abuses. It's all proceeding pretty much as you'd expect, and then Senator Daniel Inouye just drops this bombshell out of nowhere. New documents. Documents that, as far as anyone knew, didn't even exist.
And this is really where our story kicks off. See, the CIA had told Congress that the records on these programs were gone. Poof, destroyed. But then, an employee digging through old files for a Freedom of Information request literally stumbles upon 7 boxes, setting the stage for a revelation nobody saw coming.
Yeah, the discovery was a total fluke. And these weren't even the juicy operational files, the day-to-day notes on experiments. Turns out, those had been destroyed. What survived was, believe it or not, the accounting records, the money trail, and those boring-looking finance folders opened up an absolutely disturbing window into what the CIA had been up to.
And all those vouchers and budget requests, they all pointed to one code name, MKUltra. This wasn't some small, quirky side project. It was a massive, sprawling program that ran for more than a decade with a single, chilling goal: to figure out how to control the human mind. And they were willing to try anything.
So you gotta ask, right? What in the world was the CIA buying with all that cash? Well, as investigators started piecing together the proposals and memos from those financial files, they uncovered a list of objectives that went way, way beyond just gathering intelligence.
To really get why this started, you have to transport yourself back to the Cold War. There was this intense paranoia gripping the country. We were hearing these horror stories about American soldiers in Korea being brainwashed, and this deep fear set in that our enemies had some kind of secret mind control tech that we couldn't defend against. So MKUltra was born out of that desperation.
But it turned from defense to offense real fast. And what's wild about this slide is, this isn't our summary. This is pulled straight from a declassified CIA memo from 1955. These were their actual stated goals. They weren't just looking for a truth serum. They wanted to know how to make people think illogically, how to cause memory loss, how to make someone dependent on another person. It's just a terrifying shopping list.
And that wish list, it didn't just stay on paper in some file cabinet. To figure out if any of this was even possible, the CIA took its research out of the lab and into the real world. They started experimenting on people. And in many cases, these people had absolutely no idea it was happening.
The files confirmed that the CIA was running these safe houses in cities like New York and San Francisco. Here's how it worked. Agents would bring people they met, often in bars, back to one of these apartments, and then secretly slip drugs like LSD into their drinks. Then CIA officers would just sit behind a one-way mirror, taking notes. No consent, no medical check, no follow-up, just human guinea pigs.
For most of the people who went through this, we'll never know what happened to them. But there's one story we do know in detail, the case of Dr. Frank Olson. He was an Army scientist working with the CIA, and his story gives us a heartbreaking look at just how badly things could go.
I mean, just look at how quickly this all fell apart. On November 19th, he's at a CIA retreat, and someone spikes his drink with LSD. By the next day, he's a different person, severely paranoid, anxious. The CIA guys, realizing they messed up, took him to New York, not to a real psychiatrist, but to a doctor they had on their payroll. 9 days. Just 9 days after they drugged him, he went out a 10-story window.
And then the cover-up. The CIA agent who was in the room with Olson told the police that he'd been suffering from ulcers. He never said a word about the LSD. Not one. And the agency kept that secret from Dr. Olson's family for 22 years, until the first wave of investigations in the 70s finally forced the truth out into the open.
Frank Olson's story is an absolute tragedy, but it's also a symptom of something much, much bigger. It begs the question, how on earth does a program that one CIA report itself called unorthodox and unethical get to operate in the shadows with zero accountability for over a decade?
That's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? And what the documents show is that this wasn't an accident. It wasn't one rogue officer. It was a deliberate system, specifically designed to bypass every single check and balance we're supposed to have.
It's almost like a playbook. Step 1, get a special waiver so you don't have to follow any of the normal rules for money or oversight. Step 2, just don't write things down. An internal report from '63 actually said their practice was to keep no records. And finally, step 3,
If it looks like you're about to get caught, destroy everything. And listen to this. This is the CIA director, Richard Helms, explaining why he ordered the files destroyed. He said it was a good idea so that people who helped the CIA wouldn't face embarrassment, not for national security, to avoid embarrassment. The only reason we know any of this is because those 7 boxes of finance records got lost in the shuffle.
So all of this brings us right back to where we started, that Senate hearing room in 1977. Finding those files kicked off a massive investigation, but it wasn't just about digging up old skeletons. It was about making damn sure this could never, ever happen again.
The senators on that committee had one mission: put new rules in place. They wanted to create legal guardrails, new laws, new oversight committees, new charters, anything to stop a program like MKUltra from taking root in the shadows of the government ever again.
And this slide really shows you the legacy of all that. Back then, you had basically no one in Congress watching. Now there are permanent intelligence committees. Back then, rules were just waived. Now there's an intelligence oversight board. The entire system of how we watch our own spies was fundamentally changed because of these revelations.
And here's the really wild part. The CIA itself, under a new director, actually helped Congress with the 1977 investigation. As Senator Huddleston said, it was a vast difference from the old days of cover-ups and stonewalling. It was a huge step toward real accountability.
So, at the end of the day, the story of MKUltra leaves us with this huge, timeless question. We know that governments need to have secrets to protect national security, but this program is a chilling reminder of what can happen when that power goes completely unchecked. It forces us to keep asking, how do we make sure our secrets don't end up destroying our values?